Entertainment Circle x Esports Circle. As the male protagonist of esports literature, Bai Yueguang, Shen Qingyue has a prominent family background, extensive knowledge, and a beautiful appearance in a prosperous era. The only downside was that he had a bad luck and died on the day when the male lead became a grand slam. To avoid the B outcome, Shen Qingyue needs to complete the task assigned by the White Moonlight System, approaching Lu Wan, becoming his White Moonlight, and then shaking him off to make room for the true female lead. Shen Qingyue. No problem, I can. But later on, why did Lu Wan, who should have fallen in love with the female lead, use his pale fingerbones to pinch her neck, his eyes gloomy as if he was going to kill her the next second? He said, Shen Qingyue, try breaking up with me again. There are two top players in the esports circle. Lu Wan, a world-class wild king, is a genius athlete who has won almost all the championships in the esports industry. Shen Qingyue, the top scorer in the Chinese server, retired and returned home to inherit the wealthy young master of a prestigious club. The two only know each other and are not familiar at all. Until the end of a certain competition, Shen Qingyue actually intended to kidnap his girlfriend in front of Lu Ran. Lu Wan. This can be tolerated. The more Shen Qingyue obstructed him, the more he spoke recklessly. Before his emotions could be fully expressed, Shen Qingyue solemnly introduced him, "This is my own brother, a household registration book with blood ties." Lu Wan. So he treated his uncle as a rival in love. Reading tips. 1. The male lead's body and mind remain the same, never moving on to another love. 2. Aerial, no prototype. 3. Main esports circle, secondary entertainment circle, immortal appearance fishing series White Moonlight rich and noble flower x sticky vinegar essence possessive teasing king, keywords of the novel. White Moonlight wearing as an esports boss passes away with no pop-ups. White Moonlight wearing as an esports boss passes away with no pop-ups, complete collection download of TXT, latest chapter reading of White Moonlight wearing as an esports boss passes away with no pop-ups. Chapter 1. Falling off a horse. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 1. Falling off a horse. Simply put, she fell off her horse. When Shen Qingyue learned about this, she was at the final of the KPL Autumn Tournament. Currently, YG Team, 3.2, WQG Team. As long as the YG Team wins the next game, they can win the Autumn Championship. According to Reason and Emotion, Shen Qingyue supports the WQG Team, because the Wild King of the YG Team is her ex-boyfriend who was threatened by the White Moonlight System, and the shooting father of the WQG Team is her biological brother who cut off countless peach blossoms. Ex-boyfriend versus biological brother. She certainly chose her own brother. Just as YG Team received the Storm Dragon King and was preparing to attack WQG Team's high ground, Shen Qingyue's phone rang. It was called by the agent. Shen Qingyue originally intended to answer the phone, but the YG Team made a mistake when going up to the high ground. WQG Team replaces 5 regiments to defeat YG Team. There is a wave of troops on the way, and the deceleration mechanism of the second tower has been disabled. The resurrection time is still 30 seconds. WQG Team can follow this line to push crystals. Shen Qingyue's heart rate skyrocketed instantly, and she was so nervous that she dared not speak. She silently prayed in her heart that the super soldier could walk faster. Unfortunately, when the crystal of the YG Team was hammered to half health, Lu Wan was resurrected. He used a great trick, clearing out the remaining super soldiers and harvesting Shen Qingyue who had not yet retreated. Shen Qingyue patted her thigh and sighed with regret. Coincidentally, the agent's phone call came again. Shen Qingyue put on her mask, pressed down her hat, and temporarily left the KPL main venue. She found a quiet place and said, "Sister Song, what's wrong?" The agent's tone was very serious. "Shen Qingyue, have you ever played King of Glory?" Of course she has played some popular games before, probably not many people have played them. Shen Qingyue had never heard of artists not being able to play King of Glory, so she casually hummed. Agent. Do you still have a game ID called Nine-Tailed Fox? Nine. Tail. Fox. Shen Qingyue's relaxed nerves instantly tightened. Why was this game ID stolen by someone? Thinking of the ups and downs she had stirred up in the King's Canyon, Shen Qingyue anxiously asked, Sister Song, what happened? Song Xueqiang suppressed his anger and said, Are you disconnected from the internet? Go check the hot search by yourself. Weibo has been pushed to the server and crashed. Shen Qingyue finally clicked on the hot search button, #explosive. The fox spirit in the honor of King Zen area is actually Shen Qingyue #explosive. Shen Qingyue and Luowan's romance #explosive. King Han slide Shen Qingyue's heart was half cold. She quickly finished reading the first few hot searches and found that the reason why her tightly covered vest fell off was because Luowan slipped his hand into the intimate relationship hidden from the outside during the game live broadcast. The nine-tailed fox is the first one. The relationship duration is 724 days. Next is a pink heart with a rating of 99, with a note next to it. Stars. The stars, her, the sea, him. This is the CP name taken by Shen Qingyue and Luowan when they established their relationship. Luowan's live streaming is recommended on top live streaming platforms, and his daily popularity can exceed 100 million. If he forms a brotherly CP in King of Glory, he can even make it to the hot search in the esports circle, not to mention being exposed on couple CP. Fans were asking Luowan on the barrage if it was true. Luowan remained silent for about 3 seconds, then clicked on the intimate rose in his backpack and proficiently offered flowers. However, as the intimate relationship was about to reach level 100, he broke in time. 99, a number that can easily cause misunderstandings. Not to mention it was deliberately controlled by Lu Rang. This is equivalent to default. As a top player in the esports industry, Luowan has millions of fans, with technical fans and girlfriend fans each accounting for half of the country. Technical fans remain cautious about King's relationship as long as it does not affect the competition. However, his girlfriend fans don't even believe in the online romance of Prince Wang. Moreover, King's online crush is still a fox spirit who steps on several masters in the end zone. More importantly, the intimacy level on King's side is 99, while the intimacy level on Nine-Tailed Fox's side is only 69. Surprisingly, King is still stuck in love. Help, this is not true. So enthusiastic fans stripped the nine-tailed fox of its vest overnight. Shen Qingyue fell off her horse unexpectedly. The agent calmly asked, the company doesn't prohibit you from dating. Can you honestly tell me if you have fallen in love with Luowan? Shen Qingyue felt guilty and said, I just talked about it. There is a difference between having talked and being talked about. The implication is that they have now come to an end. The agent was skeptical and said, don't lie to me, there is still your intimate relationship hanging on Luowan's game account. Shen Qingyue remembered that she had applied to terminate the romantic relationship in the game, but was it rejected by Luowan? She took out her tablet and clicked on Honor of Kings. As soon as she went online, she received an invitation messages. Shen Qingyue refused by default and then banned access to the homepage in her privacy settings. Click on the intimate relationship again. King is still here, but Luowan really refused her application. Shen Qingyue pursed her lips and helplessly explained, Sister Song, I really didn't lie to you. The agent pondered for a moment and said, what is the situation with you and Luowan now? Do you need the company to help you respond to your relationship? Her relationship with Luowan, simply put. Cutting incessantly, sorting is still messy. This also starts with the White Moonlight System that she accidentally bound. Shen Qingyue's world is an esports novel, and she plays the role of the White Moonlight of Luowan's premature death. Good morning. Gone. In order to survive, Shen Qingyue had to complete the task assigned by the White Moonlight System, become the White Moonlight of Lu Wan, and then shake him off. It's easy to get close to Lu Wang in the game. Shen Qingyue spent a week pulling him into a fish pond, and the two of them had a sweet relationship for over a month. Finally, Lu Wang and she confirmed their relationship as the couple of King of Glory. But the White Moonlight of System tasks is not just the White Moonlight in games. Shen Qingyue can only take off the nine-tailed fox's vest and compete offline with Lu Wan in the YG team. Both of them have some facial control attributes, so this date can be considered love at first sight. She indulges in the pursuit of capture, he refuses and welcomes, and adult love can be determined overnight. Shen Qingyue and Lu Wan had a sweet and explosive relationship for a period of time. In the middle, Lu Wan wanted to officially declare the relationship, but Shen Qingyue was destined to scum him, so she stopped Lu Wan from above. On the day when the system judged that the progress of Bai Yueguang had reached 100%, Lu Rang invited Shen Qingyue to watch his competition on site. Shen Qingyue agreed, but received a last-minute notice and had to break the promise. Lu Wan didn't say anything at the time, but after the program aired, he realized that Shen Qingyue had received a last-minute notice that he was flirting with the male lead of a popular TV series on a variety show. Stir-fry CP. His legitimate boyfriend was even forced to have an underground romance. What can he rely on? Shen Qingyue swore that she didn't. She and he were just cooperating normally and had no relationship beyond the boundaries of friends. But Lu Ran was stubborn and unreasonable, and Shen Qingyue happened to have his new play finished. He was so tired that he didn't want to talk to him at all. She casually said, "Let's break up then." Lu Wan was also feeling angry and said, "Okay." The task assigned by the White Moonlight System was accidentally completed, and Lu Wan was still in a cold war with her. Shen Qingyue really regarded Lu Wan as his predecessor. But now, watching the operation of Lu Wan's hand sliding to expose the romance, Shen Qingyue knows that they are not so easy to end. But this is in the book. The White Moonlight System has run away. World consciousness still exists. If Shen Qingyue really reconciled with Lu Wan, she wouldn't have gone to the end of premature death again, would she? Shen Qingyue dare not gamble her life on love. So regarding the matter of responding to the romance, Shen Qingyue pressed her forehead with a headache and said, "Let me discuss it with him." The agent keenly grasped the key point and said, "So you're still in contact with Lu Wan?" Shen Qingyue choked and said, "No, I'm just watching the game live. Maybe I can meet him." The agent remained silent for 3 seconds, then erupted in silence. "Shen Qingyue, I'll book you a flight ticket for tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock, and you'll come back immediately to start filming. Immediately hang up the phone. There is no room for her to bargain." Shen Qingyue looked at the pitch-black screen of her phone with great satisfaction. She really had no intention of reigniting her old relationship with Lu Ran. "Hello, babies, peaches are back again. Can passing babies place a card in their book circle? Just click on it. Love you all, be more than heartfelt." End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Champion Ring. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Champion Ring. Across a hallway, Shen Qingyue could hear the waves of shouting and cheering in the KPL main venue. "Nice. YG is amazing. Ah. King God. So the YG team won." Shen Qingyue clicked on the KPL live streaming platform, but due to a delay, YG team is clicking on the crystal of WQG team. Shenbuizhou's Goya used black sand shells to trap the soldiers outside the crystal, while YG team Zixing used a game of change to trap all 5 members of WQG team in the spring water. The crystal of WQG team was quickly shattered. The YG team won the championship of the Autumn Finals 4.2. The golden rain slowly fell, and the leader waved the flag of the YG team. The main venue was decorated with lights to represent the YG team in black and gold. Amidst the cheers and revelry of fans, the youth of the YG team proudly lifted the championship trophy. Shen Qingyue quietly returned to her seat. She chose a position that was very advanced, allowing her to see the lonely expressions of the WQG players clearly. Shen Buizhou slid his fingers over the scattered golden rain on the race stage, his pitch-black eyes losing their former radiance. He patted his teammate's shoulder as a sign of comfort, and then silently left the field with his teammate amidst cheers from their opponents. They are just runners-up. Shen Qingyue hesitated whether to go backstage to comfort the defeated Shen Buizhou, but as soon as she got up, her eyes darkened. A clean mint smell wafted in, and Shen Qingyue took off the team uniform that had hit her face. She glanced at the name on the back of the uniform, YG Team King. Very good, this is Lu Wan's team uniform. Shen Qingyue suspected that he was intentional. How could Lu Wan accurately throw the team uniform to her among so many fans? Shen Qingyue looked up at the competition stage. Lu Wan caught her gaze and casually curled his lips, taking a few steps towards her direction before speaking silently. Wait for me. Shen Qingyue quickly lowered her head and pretended to be playing with her phone as if nothing had happened. Maybe Shen Qingyue didn't show her surprise, so the little sister sitting beside her gently nodded her shoulder and asked her shyly, "Sisters, can you sell King's team uniform? I can pay 100,000 yuan. If Shen Qingyue hesitates for a moment, it would be disrespectful to King's worth. She happily took out her phone, displayed the QR code, and planned to pay and deliver the goods. Just listen to D. The money had not yet been credited, and Lu Wan took the microphone handed over by the host. He spoke slowly and clearly. Sorry, I accidentally dropped my team uniform in a moment of excitement. I will need it for the team celebration banquet later. Can the fans who received my team uniform please return it to me? I can compensate for it. The young lady who has not successfully transferred the money should stop the loss in a timely manner. And Shen Qingyue, who lost her team uniform and received a promise. Lu Wang was not excited when he won the World Championship at LPL. Why did she not believe that he would be so excited when he became the KPL Autumn Championship? After this episode, the King of Glory League announced the players who won the FMVP. Without any suspense, Lu Xian deserves it. A downwind can boost the economy, steadily push down enemy crystals, and a headwind can level the situation and create opportunities for counterattack. As usual, FMVP players had to walk around the field wearing team flags, and Lu Wan was no exception. However, when passing by, he secretly handed her something. Unfortunately, I was seen by the little sister next to me. The little sister seemed to recognize her, and she tried to restrain the constantly rising corners of her mouth, but still couldn't help revealing 8 pure white teeth. Shen Qingyue nervously clasped her hands together and begged her not to say anything. Miss blinked at her and whispered in her ear, I understand, so are you and King real? This Shen Qingyue made a decisive decision and said, no, it's not. As soon as Shen Qingyue finished speaking, the little fan saw through her fingers what Lu Wangsai had given her. Champion ring. Shen Qingyue instinctively hid behind her. The little fan was so excited that his eyes lit up with stars and said, I actually hit it hard. Baby, can I apply for a couple visa for you and King? Did you really hit it? How could she and Lu Wan still have CP fans? Isn't the entertainment and esports circles completely out of sync? Shen Qingyue remained calm for 3 seconds. She knew that there was no reason to explain it now. No matter what she said, little fans would not believe it and would only think she was avoiding suspicion. So she said, there is no couple sign for now, but A to sign is okay. The little fan showed a second understanding expression and said, don't worry, baby. As long as you and King don't announce it officially, I will definitely not expose your relationship with him. Shen Qingyue smiled with difficulty and said, thank you. After the FMVP award ceremony, it was the interview with the loser group. The coach and shooter Shen Qingyue sent by the WQG team have adjusted his emotions, and he can rationally resolve any sharp questions handed over by the host. Winning or losing in esports is a common occurrence. He has been playing on the KPL field for 3 years and is no longer a newcomer. He has never seen anything big, even if he lost to the YG team, he should be used to it. Shen Qingyue suppressed the idea of personally comforting Shen Baijuo after the interview ended. She had not forgotten the rumors about her online, so she didn't know if her brother had discovered the surprise she had prepared for him. Taking advantage of the gap in the interview with the losing side, Su Chong, the leader of the YG team, called out Lu Wan alone. He asked, "King, are you in a relationship?" Lu Wan hugged his chest with both hands and leaned his back against the wall. He casually raised his eyebrows and eyes, but the corner of his lips quietly rose. "Ong, do you need to report to the club?" Su Chong choked. The club does not explicitly prohibit players from dating, but this is a default rule. The golden age of esports players is only a few years, and clubs do not want players to have personal emotional issues that affect their game performance. But after all, Lu Wan is the wild king and bully they finally managed to hire back. Even if Lu Wan really falls in love, the club wouldn't dare to intervene, at most just ask a few questions. No need to report. Su Chong, who represents the club's attitude, maintained a smile. It's just a rumor on the internet. Do you think you need our help to handle it? Lu Wan frowned and said, "What rumors? Didn't he ask the Navy to control the evaluation?" Su Chong probed, "Fans say that you and Shen Qingyue are just friends in the game, and in reality, they have no relationship at all." "Nonsense," Lu Wangli retorted confidently. "Shen Qingyue and I were just arguing. It's normal for couples to argue and argue, which is equivalent to flirting. When we flirt, is it called a breakup?" Su Chongjing's eyes flickered slightly after the film. "What is that?" "Communicating emotions." Su Chong hesitated for a moment and tentatively asked, "Did your girlfriend say what to do with it? Do you want to discuss it?" Discussion equals face-to-face conversation, face-to-face conversation equals an opportunity to end the Cold War and restore relations. The steps were all set for him, and Lu Wan gladly accepted. "Don't interfere, I'll get in touch with her." Su Chong nodded, but on the way back with Lu Wan, he always felt as if he had forgotten something, and in his spare time, he casually glanced at Lu Wan's left hand. The joints are distinct and worth billions. It's empty. Su Chong stopped and had some speculations. He quickly calmed down and thought of a solution. "King, where's your championship ring? It shouldn't have been lost during the walk-around, right?" Lu Wang let out a sigh and said, "I just sent it out." Su Chong's eyelids twitched wildly and he said, "Who?" "My dear," said Lu Wan with a heartwarming smile. Su Chong was shocked and said, "Did Shen Qingyue come to the scene?" "I didn't invite her. She was still filming in B City last night, maybe she just wanted to see the finals," Lu Wan said with an unstoppable sense of pride in his deliberately plain tone. Su Chong understood. Lu Wan did not invite but still followed Shen Qingyue's itinerary, indicating that he wanted to invite but was afraid of being rejected by her. B City is far from a city, indicating that Shen Qingyue rushed over overnight. Shen Qingyue's attendance at the scene is definitely not just about watching the game, it's mostly because of him. But it's necessary to show off in front of him. He is already married, but Lu Wan is still talking about an unknown relationship that he finally met up with and the woman has not responded yet. Su Chong intentionally or unintentionally touched the wedding ring on his ring finger. He deliberately rolled up his sleeve with his left hand and smiled at Lu Wan, saying, "King, it's time. Let's go over first." Lu Wan instantly restrained his smile and coldly replied with one word. "Oh." Lu Wan's personality is like this, it's both cool and attractive to the outside world. She is both sticky and flirtatious towards Shen Qingyue. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Breaking up, whoever turns back first, who is the dog? You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 3. Breaking up, whoever turns back first, who is the dog? After the interview with the losing team was completed, it was the turn of the winning team to conduct the interview. The YG team sent out head coaches Chen and Lu Wan. The host first congratulated YG team on winning the autumn tournament championship and Lu Wang on winning the FMVP. Then, they asked Chen a few more conventional questions, and then the conversation changed, focusing on Lu Wang's romance. The host specially prepared a thick stack of notebooks. First question. I heard that King and Shen Qingyue are labeled as lovers in the game. Can you ask how you got to know each other? I met you in the game. Lu thought for a moment. The second question. King's intimacy level is 99, and it's hard to see such a high level of intimacy in the King's Canyon. How did you brush it up? Lu Wan curled his lips and chuckled lightly, playing with others, sending flowers, sending confession letters, sending anything that can increase intimacy. The third question. Are the two really in love? Both the audience present and the fans in front of the screen are holding their breath and waiting for King's answer. This question, Lu Wan looked at the camera and said slowly, you can ask Shen Qingyue, because I also really want to know. Shen Qingyue covered her face and said, no, it's over. Due to the lack of a positive response to the third question, the host acted on the spot and his mind moved. Can you ask King, who chased who? This question is very subtle, and the answer to the third question can be vaguely obtained, because no matter who pursues who, it indicates that the relationship between King and Shen Qingyue is true. Lu Wan's hand, holding the microphone, paused for a moment, and his gaze involuntarily turned to Shen Qingyue, who was disguised seamlessly below the stage. Perhaps she pursued him. But he fell in love with her first. Before establishing a relationship with Shen Qingyue, Lu Wan was still competing in League of Legends. After winning the World Championship in the S50 season, he was preparing to retire and take over the family business. But on the eve of retirement, Lu Wan and his teammates collided with Shen Qingyue in the 5th row of the King's Canyon. Shen Qingyue was greedy for his skills, which led her to pursue him and act coquettishly. He fell quickly, but after a day without going online, he found his girlfriend in an online romance sweetly lining up with other little brothers. Lu Wan was so angry that his game account was once again besieged by Shen Qingyue's buddies. The reason is surprisingly, he is the only man Shen Qingyue has ever given a title to. At that time, Lu Wan was young and reckless. Fame was nothing, he was only the only man of Shen Qingyue. The King of Glorian district is full of big shots, but all of them have been favored by the nine-tailed fox. In order to maintain his position in the main palace, Lu Rang had to train hard as a wilderness hero in the King's Canyon. In just half a month, he climbed from bronze to the top 10 of the competition. Major clubs are throwing olive branches one after another, and Lu Wan has successfully transformed from a League of Legends professional player to a King of Glory professional player for love. On the field, he is a majestic wild king. But when he got off the field, he was the knight of Princess Yao Yao. Shen Qingyue likes to play with beautiful female heroes, who are usually fragile and require constant protection from others in order to grow freely in the perilous King's Canyon. But on the day Shen Qingyue broke up with him, he saw it on the viewing channel. Shen Qingyue skillfully manipulated Zhao Yun, appearing like a god of war in the group battle at Longkang. She gracefully harvested the battlefield, completed 5 kills, overturned against the wind, and annihilated the enemy. What about his delicate Kai Wenji? What about the Yao Yao princess who he can't take care of on his own? Shen Qingyue slapped him hard with her strength. Lu Wan thought he was raising a little white rabbit in the King's Canyon, but it turned out that the little white rabbit was a disguised female tiger. The host, who had not received a response for a long time, thought he had dug up some deep information. Is this question difficult to answer? No, Lu Wan looked directly at Shen Qingyue and said, of course I pursued her. And we may have to chase after them later. Asterisk. The post-match interview session has ended, marking the official end of the autumn competition. Shen Qingyue walked out with the audience at the scene. In a hurry, someone squeezed off her hat. The person standing next to her suddenly froze in their pupils, stared at her blankly for 3 seconds, and then shouted loudly, "Shen Qingyue! You!" Audiences who haven't had time to leave yet. Who? Staff maintaining order on site. Who? KPL's cameraman accurately captured the bright blue and pink color. He shook the machine and the figure of Shen Qingyue appeared on the large screen of the main venue, which had not yet been closed. She was wearing a black mask, revealing delicate and beautiful eyebrows and eyes. Fans excitedly took out their phones to shoot, and some even asked if she had specifically come to watch the King competition. The situation at the scene suddenly became uncontrollable. Shen Qingyue struggled to survive under the flashing light. At this moment, Lu Wan seemed to be stepping on colorful auspicious clouds. He squeezed into the excited crowd and brought Shen Qingyue back to the rest room of the YG team. Fans slapped their backs wildly. Weibo hot search updated again. Asterisk. The atmosphere in the lounge is very subtle. There are 2 people sitting in front of the transparent French window, one holding the YG team jacket and the other wearing the YG team's short-sleeved shirt. The others sat in the corner of the lounge, either reading magazines or playing with their phones, but without exception, their eyes couldn't help but glance towards Lu Wan and Shen Qingyue. Shen Qingyue wants to leave. But under the dimly lit tablecloth, Lu Wan hooked her leg. The 2 exchanged a glance, took out their phones in tacit agreement, and clicked on the chat interface. It was half a month since their last contact, and the last message left by Lu Wan was, "Break up, break up. Whoever turns around first is the dog." Lu Wangang sent a message to Shen Qingyue, and the system sent him a red exclamation mark. Shen Qingyue also remembered that she had blacklisted Lu Wangang. The scene was slightly awkward. Lu Wan sked and raised his eyebrows, saying, "Can you let me out, baby? Baby." The YG team became visibly excited, exchanged glances, and coincidentally formed a Group 4 emotional exchange. Shen Qingyue felt the scorching gaze around her and couldn't help but kick Lu Wan. She pulled him out of the blacklist and knocked, "Release your legs. Don't call me baby. Pay attention to the situation." Lu Wan blinked his affectionate peach blossom eyes and his legs became tighter. He smiled and said, "I understand, dear." Shen Qingyue's eyes were dangerous. "Go to your baby." Lu Wan didn't dare to repeatedly jump on the edge of her anger. He tried to make a dog's head, but didn't receive the system's exclamation mark, and then began a one-sided hot chat. Lu Wan. Wang Wang, Lu Wan. Wang Wang Wang, Shen Qingyue ignored him. Lu Wan. There is currently one single dog, aged 23, abandoned by its owner for half a month. I have deeply realized my mistake and am applying to remove the first 2 words. Do you approve, owner? Shen Qingyue felt that Lu Wangsaw was operating more and more. Lu Wan. Darling. Sweetheart. Baby. Qingqing. Moon. My stars. Do you care about me? Shen Qingyue felt that Lu Wan was coming to disgust her. Lu Wan. If you don't reply to my message again, I'll call. What's your name? Shen Qingyue looked away from her phone. Lu Wan looked at her and lazily leaned back on the chair, slowly opening his lips and saying, "Wang." YG team is collectively shocked. Shen Qingyue clenched her fists and said, "The internet is crashing, isn't it? Just restart your phone." "Okay," Lu Wang said as soon as he saw something good. The YG team breathed a sigh of relief and knew that even if King's family status was humble, he wouldn't learn to bark like a dog. Shen Qingyue brought the topic back to the right track. "Return the team uniform and ring to you. I have something else to do, so I'll leave first." Lu Wan. You can give me the team uniform, you keep the ring. Shen Qingyue was vigilant. I don't want it, don't set me up. The meaning of a ring is too rich. It is not something that can be given out casually, which can easily cause misunderstandings. Lu Wan. That's compensation. Lu Wan. Give back my team uniform to the fans. Lu Wan. Either the team uniform or the ring, I won't force you. You can choose one yourself. Shen Qingyue knew she couldn't entangle Lu Wan. Team uniform. Lu Wan smiled meaningfully and said, okay, I forgot to tell you. I like to give fans a full set of team uniforms. The focus is on the entire set. How can we show King's sincerity with only a coat? Shen Qingyue finally saw through Lu Wan's plan and sneered, so, are you going to say, let me go home with you, and then take off your clothes? Lu Wan. Does that baby agree? Shen Qingyue. Do you think I would be the kind of person who leads wolves into the house? Lu Wan. I am not a wolf now, but a poor single dog that urgently needs to be adopted by its owner, the kind that will last a lifetime. Shen Qingyue knew that she was not as promiscuous as Lu Wan, so she could only send a simple message. Get lost. Lu Wan's eyes lit up and he said, is the bed sheet? Shen Qingyue was exhausted and said, shut up, I'll fly back tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock. I want to leave. Yes. But bring him along. On the surface, Lu Wan appeared calm, but the legs hidden under the tablecloth made Shen Qingyue unable to stand up. Shen Qingyue. Loose legs. Lu Wan. No, not really. Even if he approves that she won't easily turn her back in front of outsiders, he can indulge a little more than usual. Lu Wan looked at Shen Qingyue's restrained expression and pretended to pour her a glass of water. Baby, are you thirsty? Let's moisten your throat. Shen Qingyue gritted her teeth and said, thank you, thank you. Don't be polite. Lu Wan smiled impeccably and said, baby, when should we still care about these things between us? After he finished speaking, he glanced at the idle people in the lounge and deliberately said something misleading. Baby, don't be shy, just treat them as non-existent. Idle members of YG team. If I remember correctly, this is their lounge, and the two of them are dating in their place without anyone else, and they still feel that they are unnecessary. Is this appropriate? Shen Qingyue also felt it was not suitable. She began to play straight with Lu Wan and said, it's getting late, so I won't disturb you to attend the celebration banquet. The implication is. Release her legs, she wants to leave. Lu Wan didn't speak, his legs didn't loosen, he just gave Su Chong a slow glance. As a human spirit, Su Chong immediately understood King's meaning. Inviting his girlfriend who had not yet reunited to the celebration banquet may be rejected, but Shen Qingyue would feel embarrassed to refuse the invitation from an outsider who was not clear about their relationship. Su Chong pushed the golden glasses on the bridge of his nose and smiled perfectly. Miss Shen, you can also be considered King's family. Why don't you come with us? Shen Qingyue's eyelids twitched wildly, and she quickly denied, no, I'm not, trouble. Lu Wan intercepted her words and said, no trouble. Lu Wangmei smiled and said, baby, the tradition of our YG team is to be warm and hospitable. If you don't go, they will be very sad. After speaking, fearing that she wouldn't believe him, Lu Wan scanned the coach, team leader, and teammates one by one. His tone was rare and gentle, but he vaguely revealed a hint of threat. You say so, right? The coach repeatedly said yes. Su Chong smiled and welcomed him. My teammates nodded incessantly like chicks pecking at rice. After all, the tradition of their YG team, enthusiasm. Hospitality. Don't refuse, otherwise King will cry for them in the game. There is no bottom line for Lu Wan to pursue his wife. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Brother or emotional brother. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Brother or emotional brother. Shen Qingyue couldn't refuse. When she followed a large group of people from the YG team to the restaurant, she suddenly remembered that she had turned on the silent mode when secretly chatting with Lu Wan, afraid of being discovered by others. Later, she was busy playing tricks with Lu Wan and missed the news of her agent. Bad news. Shen Qingyue struggled to take out her phone, but she hesitated to open it. She had already anticipated Song Jie's reaction when she saw the hot search, as well as the outcome of her series of announcements. Lu Wan noticed something was wrong with her and said, "What's wrong?" Shen Qingyue didn't want to see him now and said dejectedly, "You stay away from me for now, don't talk to me." Lu Wan clicked on Weibo's hot search and put it directly in front of her. I guess it's this. Hot search first article, Smoking Gun. Shen Qingyue and Lu Wan are a true couple. The landlord filmed a video of Shen Qingyue hiding her identity and going to the KPL site to cheer on Lu Wan as evidence. Shen Qingyue. She was about to say something when her agent Song Shue's call request popped up on her phone screen. Lu Wan cleverly took a step back and Shen Qingyue answered the call. Shen Qingyue felt guilty and said, "Sister Song." Song Shue was so angry that her brain was aching. "Miss, didn't you say that you and Lu Wan had already broken up?" Shen Qingyue said cautiously, "On." Song Shue's tone remained indifferent. "Didn't you say you didn't get in touch?" Shen Qingyue hesitated and said, "An accident." Song Shue took a deep breath. Although she was used to cleaning up the mess for artists, those troubles were limited to the entertainment industry. It was unprecedented for someone like Shen Qingyue to cross the esports industry. "Miss Shen, please tell me that we have already broken up and haven't contacted each other, but can we still flirt and cuddle with our ex in front of the camera?" Shen Qingyue thought of the scene at the time and explained, "No, Lu Wan was trying to pull me out of the crowd." Song Shue. "Then go tell the fans that it's okay with you, see if they believe it or not." Shen Qingyue had a positive attitude and said, "I was wrong." Song Shue pressed her eyebrows in pain and said, "There is a lot of commotion online now. Have you discussed with Lu Wan how to handle this matter?" Shen Qingyue instinctively glanced at Lu Wan, who met her gaze. He instinctively dodged. "There is a problem." Shen Qingyue put down her phone and stared expressionlessly at Lu Rang, saying, "What are you feeling guilty about?" Cough. Lu Wangqiang pretended to be calm and said, "It's nothing, you keep going." Shen Qingyue didn't believe it, but she didn't catch Lu Wan's handle and didn't say anything until her hands-free phone rang out, saying, "Shen Qing. You." Shen Qingyue silently lowered her volume before putting the phone to her ear, followed by the agent's roar. Lu Wan officially announced on Weibo, "Do you know?" Shen Qingyue was first confused, then turned to doubt, and finally shocked. Official announcement. She turned her head to look at Lu Wan. Lu Wan felt Shen Qingyue's unfriendly gaze and quickly moved to the door. That skillfully makes people feel heartbroken. Click. Locked. Idle and miscellaneous people transform into a group of onlookers who dare not speak and can only passionately speak in the group. Night. What's wrong, what's wrong? Rifle. Maybe my sister.in.law wants to leave, King won't let anyone go. Master. But has King ever thought that the door can be unlocked from the inside? Last order, tank. Perhaps love can lower one's intelligence. Only Su Chong was seriously eating melons, silently throwing out a link in the group and clicking on it. Smoking Gun. Shen Qingyue and Lu Wan are a true couple. Following below. King v. There are two shadows under the moon, one is mine and the other is also mine. Damn it. Literature and art. Cowardly. After just finishing his official Weibo post, Lu Wan coughed twice with a guilty conscience. He moved toward Shen Qingyue and said, "That treasure." Idle people watched helplessly as Shen Qingyue stood up holding a knife and fork. Just as King took a few steps towards her, the fork flew over and inserted into the apple behind him. The apple slammed onto the ground and cracked open. YG team's pupils dilate. No wonder it's my sister. In.law. Bully. Shen Qingyue leisurely flicked the broken hair in her ear, and she smiled, her beautiful apricot eyes shimmering with light. Looking at the anxious YG team members, she comforted them thoughtfully, "Don't worry, I have practiced shooting and won't accidentally harm you." Shooting. Are they not living targets then? The YG team members who were originally planning to argue immediately pushed King out. This was King's family matter, and it was inconvenient for outsiders to intervene. As for King, seek your own blessings. The autumn competition has just finished, and King still has over a month left to recover from injuries. As long as he doesn't hurt his hands, he can come to the venue to play in a wheelchair. Lu Wan glanced at his teammate who was not up to par. Teammates' gaze avoided, and no one dared to look at him. He can only rely on himself. Without any hesitation, Lu Wan skillfully approached Shen Qingyue's waist and placed his head on her neck, pretending to be pitiful and saying, "Baby, are you willing to accept it?" Shen Qingyue's tone was cold and indifferent. "I am willing to give up." Lu Wan deliberately lowered his voice, sexy and hoarse. The only downside was that he didn't wear the white shirt and wore robe. "So, how do you plan to punish me? Go to your house tonight, you can do whatever you want, I promise not to resist." Shen Qingyue. What is this? Reverse flirtation. Shen Qingyue couldn't bear it anymore and pushed him, but Lu Wan was too strong to push him away. Lu Wan just wanted to go further, dong dong dong. The door was knocked on. Perhaps it was the waiter coming to serve the dishes, and the idle members of the YG team put away their phones, but Lu Wan never let go of Shen Qingyue. The coach's familiar position was by the door, and when he opened it, he unexpectedly found that the person standing at the door was Shen Baizhou. Who? The YG teams have entered a level 1 readiness state. As is well known, the WQG team and the YG team have been at odds for a long time, and both sides are unhappy with each other. Before the absence of King in the YG team, they were constantly suppressed by WQG. For 3 consecutive seasons, WQG dominated KPL, while the YG team was known as the perennial runner-up. But after King joined the YG team, the situation instantly reversed, and the WQG team never won the championship again. Even the club's popularity was overtaken by the YG team. The WQG team said that the YG team relied on the Wild King trained by LPL to win, and their own youth training was still garbage. The YG team said that the WQG team is jealous and envious of their Wild King. Now that WQG has lost the game, does Shen Buizhou from their family want to come over and start a fight? I also found the restaurant. Shen Qingyue followed their gaze and saw a man wearing a black team uniform standing outside the door. His gaze lightly scanned her. Yes, it was her own brother. Shen Qingyue's heart skipped a beat, she was finished. But the YG team didn't give her a chance to play at all. Rifle is the top scorer in the team and has a competitive relationship with Shen Buizhou. He smiled and said, "God of the boat, why did you catch up with him in the restaurant? Is there anything wrong? If you want to touch the trophy, you have already been taken back to the club." Knight is Rifle's assistant, but his aggressiveness is not lower than Rifle's. "But our championship ring is in our own hands, do we need to lend it to the boat god to play for a few days?" Shen Baizhou walked through the crowd, his cold gaze fixed on her, while she was still in Lu Wan's arms. Danger. Perhaps it was the strength of her bloodline that suppressed Shen Qingyue, and she pushed Lu Wan away with just one push, and then with a strong desire for survival, she distanced herself from him by 3 meters. Shen Baizhou's posture was casual, and he looked straight at Shen Qingyue. "Do you need me to invite you back?" Lu Wang's scattered expression was instantly sharp. He has never participated in the struggle between the YG team and the WQG team, but Shen Qingyue has dug his way in, is it too much? He has no desire to share. What kind of identity and qualifications do you have? This is what Lu Rang often says to defend his position in the palace. Shen Qingyue's heart was lifted. You shut up, she said to Lu arrogantly. Brother, she said to Shen Qingyue. Shen Qingyue wanted to go back with Shen Baizhou, but halfway through, she was stopped by Lu Wan. Lu Wan's eyes revealed injury and disbelief. You choose him over me. Nonsense. Can she not choose her own biological brother? Shen Qingyue felt a headache as she watched Lu Wan hold her hand, and she couldn't help but remind her again. He is my brother. Lu Wanghe said, I know he's your brother. Shen Qingyue's eyes clearly showed the confusion of not letting go yet and the shock of when did you know? Lu Wan suppressed his trembling tone and said, Tell me, where did you meet in the honor of King's district? When did you meet him? Is he considerate to me? Will he help you clear the line? Will he give you a buff that makes you feel dizzy? Will he take you to lie down and win? Where is he better than me? It's worth choosing him over me. Shen Qingyue was speechless. It's hopeless. She shook off Lu Wan's hand and walked to Shen Baizhou's side, clearing her throat. Let me introduce you, this is my biological brother who has a household registration book, is related by blood, has the same father and mother, has known each other for 20 years, and grew up together since childhood. Lu Wan. Ah. He remained silent for a whole minute, so did he just treat his uncle and brother as a rival in love? Shen Baizhou glanced at Shen Qingyue, who was feeling guilty, and then looked at her rumored boyfriend. He said with a puzzled expression, King, so I have status now and am qualified to take my sister home. Of course. Lu Wang adapted quickly to his identity change. Shen Qingyue's brother is his brother. Although they are not in the same household registration book now, he will eventually be able to ascend to higher positions. Lu Wan smiled politely and asked sincerely in front of everyone, Brother, is it convenient to take me home with you? Brother. Brother. Who the hell is your brother? Shen Baizhou almost had a black face, and he blurted out 3 words. Not convenient. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. The clash between Big Uncle and Sister-in-Law. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. The clash between Big Uncle and Sister-in-Law. Lu Wan's eyes were extremely reluctant and his expression was extremely regretful. He kept flirting and making small movements. Shen Qingyue was so angry that he sneered and even flirted with his sister in front of him, treating him like a dead person. Shen Baizhou coldly stood in front of Shen Qingyue, blocking the lingering and eager gaze of Lu Rang. You. Xiao Zhongdan was afraid that the two of them would fight, so he quickly stepped forward to stop him and said, Brother. Bah. No, it's not, boat god. Let's play and make fun of each other. Don't joke about friendship. Shen Qingyue was so angry that he almost sneered, What kind of relationship do I have with your YG team? What kind of friendship do we have? Master awkwardly rubbed his forehead and said, This. He turned his distressed gaze towards King. Friendship comes first, competition comes second, and my uncle and I naturally share the same friendship on the competition field, said Lu Rang naturally Uncle Shen Tm. Shen Qingyue was so angry that he couldn't even speak. Maybe there's still family affection, said Lu Wan, taking advantage of the situation uncle and son. In law. Lu Wang rarely gave up his arrogant nature on the field, and he obediently tried to please his future uncle. Brother, since everyone has come, why not stay and have a meal before leaving? Shen Qingyue sneered and said, Ha. Shen Qingyue was terrified upon hearing this. She quickly gave a glance to Lu Wan, but he remained indifferent. Just let her eat, and dare to let her brother eat. This is the YG team's celebration banquet. Is Lu Wan foolish or intentional? Is this cutting into the heart of the runner-up? Shen Qingyue, or is it a fatal blow? Shen Qingyue felt a slight cramp in her eyelids, and Lu Wan finally realized it. He no longer focused his attention on her brother, but instead turned to her, glancing at me. Lu Wang's peach blossom eyes sparkled, and his slightly raised lips were full of emotion. Originally, it was an extremely tempting scene, but unfortunately, he used the wrong place. Shen Qingyue is really going to be infuriated by him. Unfortunately, Lu Wan thought that Shen Qingyue had changed her mind towards him, so she secretly flirted with him in front of her own brother. Perhaps. Baby likes this tone. Lu Wan finally got Shen Qingyue's point, and as he became more aggressive, his actions became more and more eye-catching. Even married athlete Su Chong couldn't bear to look straight at him. The coach let out a sorrowful sigh and whispered, "If I remember correctly, it's almost winter solstice now." Su Chong chuckled knowingly and said with profound meaning, "But winter doesn't affect the peacock screen, especially those with beautiful hair. Even snow can't freeze the mating scent in the air." As a coach who cares about the physical and mental health of athletes, Shen Shu is a bit worried. "Are you sure Shen Baizhou won't pull out all the hair on the peacock's buttocks?" Su Chong is not worried about this issue. With Shen Qingyue here, Shen Baizhou wouldn't be able to take action here. So what you're saying is that Shen Baizhou will do something bad, and Lu Wan won't be blocked in the corner, right? "Should we send someone to protect him?" said Chen Chen. With a wild jump in his brows, Su Chong spoke calmly and said, "This is their family business. What are we outsiders involved in?" Chen Chen looked at the rapidly exploding, cold air manufacturing machine again and was slightly worried. But is Lu Wan's little move too blatant? Is the expression range too exaggerated? If Lu Wan were to come closer, Shen Baizhou's fist could even swing towards his face. Likes can be understood. But can we maintain a safe distance from our future uncle, especially when he doesn't particularly welcome him? Obviously, Lu Wan had no AC number in his heart. No matter how good Shen Baizhou's temper is, it will eventually be unbearable. He angrily said, "Lu Wan." Lu Wan was startled. He restrained his gaze from staring directly at his wife, his lips slightly curled up, revealing a pure smile. "Brother, do you have any instructions? What kind of person is this?" Shen Baizhou was so angry by Lu Wan's shameless behavior that he exploded. He pointed to Lu Wan's trembling fingers and said, "Try seducing my sister again." Sure enough, Shen Baizhou was driven crazy by Lu Wan. May God. No, Shen Qingyue bless you, amen. Chen Chen could only silently pray for Lu Wan in his heart. He had not even opened his eyes when the door was knocked on. Deeply understanding, tears of joy welled up. Has Shen Qingyue really appeared? Someone is talking outside the door, it's a waiter. Su Chong gestured for the contestants to block, and Shen Baizhou expressionlessly grabbed Shen Qingyue by the collar and carried her behind the wall of YG team members. Of course, it's 8 zhang away from landing. Lu Wan also knew that he shouldn't be capricious at this time. Because if someone takes a photo of Shen Baizhou at the YG team celebration banquet, he guarantees to be hot searched on top 2, Shen Baizhou attended the YG team celebration banquet with a sneer on his face, seeming to be dissatisfied after losing the game and coming to find fault Shen Baizhou versus Shen Qingyue, both surnames Shen. Isn't it what I thought? Either of these two entries has been trending. Shen Qingyue would vent her anger on him. Lu Wan deliberately made a small expression of grievance towards Shen Qingyue, and the next second he received a sharp gaze from Shen Baizhou. He let out a difficult sigh. "Uncle, it doesn't seem like I really like him." The manager who brought the waiter to serve is a fan of the YG team, so when preparing for the celebration banquet, he specially trained the waiter. The manager smiled and congratulated, "Congratulations to everyone for defeating the WQG team and winning the autumn championship. Congratulations to King for becoming the first FMVP to play in the wilderness position in KPL history." The sound system of the restaurant began playing the battle song of YG Team, and the invited actors waved the small battle flag of YG Team, even turning the lights into black and gold. Apart from another golden rain, it was necessary to recreate the scene when they won the championship. YG Team members. Awkward, Shen Qingyue was puzzled. So formal. Shen Baizhou satirizes. Flashy. Only Lu Wan's heart skipped a beat when he heard it. He finally realized. They defeated the WQG team. The team where Shen Baizhou belonged, and the last FMVP at KPL was a developmental path player. Unfortunately, it was also Shen Baizhou. And the casual meal he invited his uncle to have before was, celebration, achievement, banquet. Celebrate the victory of YG team over WQG team. And the baby was flirting with him before, a gentle reminder. So his behavior of inviting his uncle to stay for a celebration banquet before leaving is like a blatant mockery. Lu Wan. Completely rigid. Waiter, this golden chicken crispy bone is inspired by a lofty aspiration. Wishing the YG team continued success. As is well known, the only team KPL can currently compete with the YG team is the WQG team, so the meaning of continuing to strive is to defeat the WQG team once again. Lu Wan. My heart has cooled halfway. Waiter B. This black tiger palm mushroom stewed pig meat is taken from the meaning of, one palm calms the river and mountains. Wishing the YG team the chance to encounter gods and kill them, the Buddha blocking and killing the Buddha, and the demon coming to slay the demon, becoming the true unbeaten myth of KPL. Everyone in the esports community knows that the last unbeaten myth of KPL was the WQG team, so defeating the WQG team is not enough, they need to keep stepping on the WQG team's head. Lu Wan. My heart is completely cold. Waiter N turned his gaze to his direction, and Lu Wan immediately realized something was wrong. He immediately took the tray from the waiter's hand. Thank you, I understand. The implication is. Don't speak up and harm him. Waiter N looks obedient and clever. She takes out a postcard and a pen from her pocket, her eyes shining brightly. Lu Rang instinctively breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out that he wanted to sign, that's fine. But who can tell him why the postcard she gave him looked like Shen Baizhou when he won the championship? Lu Rang glanced at Shen Baizhou, who was tightly blocked by the YG team, and then looked at Waiter N, asking thoughtfully, are you sure you didn't take it wrong? Waiter N tiptoed to take a look at the postcard in his hand, shook his head, and said with a pure and flawless expression, no, Actually, I'm a fan of you and the boat god. Lu Wangru was struck by lightning. His dilated pupils were filled with disbelief. He and Shen Baizhou both have CP fans. He spent real gold and silver to invite the starry CCP of the Navy team, but there hasn't been any sound yet. Waiter N was a bit excited but also a bit shy. So King, are you and the boat god real? End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Hand Skating Dad. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Hand Skating. Dad. Of course it's not true. After finishing speaking, Lu Wan was afraid that his words would be too blunt and affect the relationship between his uncle and son.in.law, which would indirectly affect his relationship with the baby. So Lu Wan explained politely, I personally appreciate the boat god. Without any personal feelings, he truly appreciates it. Shen Baizhou, a talented young man from KPL, debuted at the age of 18 and won 3 championships and double FMVP in just 1 year. Now with Shen Qingyue's emotional connection, his appreciation can only increase. The waiter N's disappointed expression immediately turned into an anxious expectation. So it's still possible for me to hit CP. Lu Wan immediately stopped being tactful and said, impossible, impossible in this life, never possible. Asterisk after the waiter left the room, Shen Qingyue secretly turned off the recording software. She leaned against the wall, glanced at the top ADC Shen Buizhou, who was abstinent and indifferent, and then looked at the genius wild King Lu Wan, who was reckless and boastful. What kind of double-A combination is this? Good knock, really fragrant. Shen Buizhou glanced at her calmly and said, delete it, or never be heard by me. Shen Qingyue was startled. Woo 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 woo. Sure enough, knocking on everything will only kill her. But it really smells so good. On Weibo, there are also like-minded people like Shen Buizhou and Lu Wan. She should not have noticed them by secretly reading them, right? She looked up, her eyes fixed on her. Shen Buizhou put on his hat and mask, and his tone was extremely gentle. Don't you want to go back? Is that okay? Shen Qingyue felt uneasy inside. But it's not up to her. This is the first time Shen Qingyue wants to be with Lu Wan after breaking up. Help her, she really doesn't want to go home at this time. But Lu Ran, who was repeatedly hit, didn't understand Shen Qingyue's gaze. He personally escorted Shen Qingyue and Shen Buizhou onto the car and watched them leave. Waiting for the car to completely disappear into the night. He suddenly remembered that his clothes and championship ring had not been delivered yet. Shen Buizhou took Shen Qingyue away, leaving only members of the YG team in the room. The upper middle group is heartless, they care about finally being able to have dinner. The shooting assistant group is uneasy. They just got angry with King's girlfriend's brother. King won't retaliate against them, will he? Can only team leader Su Chong and coach Shin Jian, who are concerned about the future of their YG team and have a sense of belonging, still hold on to them. As for Lu Xian, my future wife has been taken away by my uncle, who doesn't seem to like me. I want to please my uncle, who is in the WQG team. WQG team belongs to Kyushu Esports Club. His old boss is Shen Buizhou's father, and Shen Buizhou is Shen Qingyue's brother, which means he needs to call his former boss's father, and if possible, his golden thigh in the Shen family. After understanding, Lu Wangxiang clicked on WeChat and found an ID named Capitalist in the note. He originally intended to change the note, but his brain speed couldn't keep up with his hand speed. As a result, he typed the word Dad into the chat box and sent it. Lu Wan. He didn't mean to. Shen Qingyue was originally handling official duties when he saw the words, Dad, popping up on WeChat and instinctively smiled with compassion. His daughter. Wait to see the note name. Shen's mother witnessed the speed at which Shen's father changed his face in 1 second. Xie Shui subconsciously asked, what's wrong? Shen Qingyue's expression was indescribable. As the chairman of Kyushu Esports Club, he was also the first to encounter a player calling him Dad, and he was also a top talent player who ran away from home. What does Lu Wan mean? Feeling uncomfortable playing at KPL, want to go back to LPL. But which club is not vying for him, may his posture be too low. Such a rebellious person makes him a bit uncomfortable. Dad. Who else dares to call him Dad besides Shen Qingyue? Shen Buizhou doesn't count, because he calls his boss directly to avoid suspicion. Now he has developed a habit of calling him a capitalist with the children in the team at home. Oh, who cares? He doesn't lack the sound of Shen Buizhou's father. But when Shen Qingyue saw that father of Lu Wan, his hair stood up in defiance. Xie Shui was right beside him. He handed his phone to his biological wife to look at, holding her waist in a familiar manner and complaining, Lu Wan called me Dad, which scared me so much that my phone almost fell. Xie Shui felt that the name Lu Wan sounded a bit familiar to her, as she seemed to have seen or heard of it somewhere before. Shen Qingyue said again, this person used to attract everyone's attention, with a lot of fans in the circle. Even if he violated the rules, the club wouldn't dare to impose heavy penalties. Now he's transferred to KPL, and I don't know how he changed his character. KPL. Lu Xian. Xie Xue seemed to have caught any clues and asked, "Is Lu Wan's game ID king?" Shen Qingyue didn't realize the seriousness of the problem yet. Xie Xue pushed Shen Qingyue away and pulled a chair to sit next to him. Her slender fingers danced flexibly on the keyboard, and Weibo hot searches popped up on the computer screen. Top 10. All of them are from Shen Qingyue and Lu Wan. Shen Qingyue usually doesn't pay much attention to Weibo, and it was because of Shen Qingyue's profession that he downloaded entertainment software. He was busy dealing with transfer matters today, so he didn't watch the hot search, and didn't know that such a big thing had happened in the entertainment and esports circles. His daughter is actually with Lu Wan. Lu Wan, this damn thing, dares to call him dad. Shen Qingyue instantly shattered the sky and the earth. The little cabbage he had raised for 20 years was so watery that no one was not rare. It was dug away like this. The old father finds it difficult to accept this fact. Shen Qingyue was about to suffer from high blood pressure, and he suppressed his anger and fiercely attacked Lu Wan on a chat app. "You kid poached my daughter and provoked me, you don't want to live anymore." Lu Wan looked at the last 3 exclamation marks and sighed sorrowfully. It seemed that his father-in-law didn't really like him either, but it's necessary for him to explain that he didn't mean it, he was really slippery. He originally wanted to change the note name, but ended up calling on Dad directly. What does this mean? This is fate destined by heaven. He will eventually be a member of the Shen family. Thinking of this, Lu Wan felt at ease and said, "Dad, don't be angry. Listen to my explanation, I really didn't mean to." Shen Qingyue saw the word "dad" again and his eyes turned black with anger. The first time it was not intentional, he can still believe it, and now he dares to say the word "dad" to him. Do you really think their Shen family door is so easy to enter? Shen Qingyue's household registration book is still locked in the safe by him. Even if they really get to the point of getting married, they will have to go through his hurdle first. Ms. Xie Xue was drinking coffee and watching the excitement on the side. She has received a message from Shen Baizhou that he has taken Shen Qingyue home. Today is destined to be a sleepless night, especially after the son-in-law had a hot conversation with the daughter-slave father. She clearly felt Shen Qingyue's anger. Just like what he said to Lu Wan. "Lu Wan. Who allowed you to call me dad? You keep your distance from Shen Qingyue. Don't be delusional." Xie Xue casually handed a glass of water to her angry father. "What are you angry about? Shen Qingyue is 20 years old and has reached adulthood. Isn't it normal for her to fall in love? You need to learn to face reality, and isn't Lu Wan also quite good? She is clean and not close to women. Is this just a persona?" As a former boss, Shen Qingyue cannot be said to have a thorough understanding of Lu Wan, but he also has some knowledge about his personal life. It is said that a beautiful illegitimate fan once recommended a pillow, but was reported to the bureau by Lu Wan over the phone. There were also female fans who attempted to kiss Lu Wan forcefully on club day, but were caught and pressed to the floor by Lu Wan's move. From then on, Lu Wan became known as the King of Esports. It is true that he is clean and self-disciplined, and this is not a character specially designed by the club for him. But can't Lu Wan continue to be widowed? Why come dig up his old Shen family's little cabbage? Watching Shen Qingyue's ever-changing expression, Ms. Xie Xue understood the twists and turns in his heart. She placed the cup on the table and said, "About half an hour, your son will be back with your precious daughter. What do you want to ask? Prepare in advance." Shen Qingyue looked up and said, "Really? Isn't Shen Baizhou in a competition? How could he have time to catch Shen Qingyue?" Xie Xue glanced at him and sat back in his seat. "Do you know about the Shen Baizhou race today?" Shen Qingyue. "I know." Xie Xue's lips curved and said, "Do you know who his opponent is?" Shen Qingyue frowned and said, "YG." Xie Xue chuckled lightly and said, have you forgotten which club Lu Wan transferred to? Shen Qingyue. That is to say, Lu Wan not only defeated Shen Buizhou, but also wanted to pry into the corners of the Shen family. Gone. Coincidentally, at this moment, Lu Wan also sent him a message. Lu Wan finally stopped calling him dad this time, but, boss, my baby and I are in love, baby. Go to your baby. Still in love, dreaming. Shen Qingyue was so angry that he felt heartbroken. Get lost. It's been a long time since Lu Wan messaged him. But 10 minutes later, a nearly 600-word essay was sent to Shen Qingyue's phone. Lu Wan simply listed the assets under his name, indicating that he was willing to come and take care of them. Shen Qingyue. There's no way to get married. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Keep innocence in the human world. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Keep innocence in the human world. Shen family. A U-shaped sofa display. Shen Buizhou, Shen Qingyue, and Xia Shui each occupied a position, with only Shen Qingyue standing pitifully on the unsealed side. Her own brother, Shen Buizhou, the main force of the Peach Blossom Slayer. My younger sister hasn't graduated from college yet. Early love. My younger sister is so well behaved. It must be Lu Wan, this dog, who lured her to make mistakes. Scumbags. How could a scumbag be worthy of his precious sister? In short, stay away from his sister, this dog named Lu Wan. Her old father, Shen Qingyue, oh my goodness. How could my precious daughter be taken away by another pig? No, no, absolutely not. Well, Lu Wan sent a message saying that he was willing to marry into the Shen family and bring his own dowry. In the future, the child will follow the Shen family surname, and it's okay if Shen Qingyue doesn't want to have children. So this. It's not working either. Her mother is a senior official, Xia Shui. King is a legendary beauty player in the esports industry, and this looks great for her precious daughter. Cool and drag, this is the real version of the salt-type little wolf dog, truly my family's treasure. The mother and fetus are solo 20 years old, and first love is the top configuration. A talented man and a beautiful woman are truly a perfect match. Lock it up. Although the three individuals have different ideas, their principles are extremely consistent, which is, don't make mistakes before marriage, baby. Both Shen's father and Shen's mother have come from their lush years, so they naturally know what it means, burning with dry firewood, unable to resist, unable to stop, extreme pulling, willing to refuse but still welcome. And those classic quotes. I just want to hold you and sleep, I'm not doing anything. So the Shen family began the interrogation process, triple peerless. Did you hold hands, did you embrace, did you kiss? Finally, there is another fatal issue that cannot be easily exposed. Shen Buizhou saw how they were entangled and said softly, just now, Lu Wan was going home with me, so do you usually live together? Shen's father and Shen's mother's eyes became sharp. Baby, is it true? Shen Qingyue. She vehemently denied it. And then fall into a cycle of feeling guilty. She and Lu Wan seemed to only be together for 1, 2, 3 nights. Well, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 nights. They don't really live together, how can they be considered cohabiting? So Shen Qingyue shook her head with a guilty yet firm heart and said, no, really no. This is a one-sided statement from Shen Qingyue. How could the old foxes believe it? In order to determine whether Shen Qingyue and Lu Wan's progress exceeded the boundary, Shen Qingyue was forced to invite Lu Wan to join the 5th platoon. The Shen family understands it this way. Games can bring strangers closer and also lower Lu Wan's guard. More importantly, turn on all the microphones for me, don't try to collude with confessions in advance. Shen's father, Shen's mother, and Shen Buizhou, in order not to reveal their identities, coincidentally activated a voice transformer and disguised themselves as Shen Qingyue's friend. Sharing romantic relationships between friends is normal. Shen Qingyue. Woo, when did their family become like this? Cunning, she protested indignantly, why didn't you interrogate my brother when he was dating? Shen Qingyue confessed, I'm not in love. The old father frowned and said, Shen Qingyue, your brother is a boy. If he dares to go out and mess around, I can break his leg, but you are a girl and you are easily hurt. Shen Qingyue reacted quickly and said, but now boys also need to protect themselves when going out. Ms. Xia Shui lazily leaned back on the sofa, picking her fox's eye and saying, no one can easily harm your brother. Now we are solving your problem. Shen Qingyue, don't digress from the topic. Shen Qingyue, weak and helpless. Oh, what should be done if she harms Lu Wan? The youngest in the family had no human rights, and under the threat of her parents and brothers, she had to drag Lu Wan into the game room. Please, Lu Wan, don't speak recklessly. I'm not afraid of being broken to pieces, I want to keep my innocence in this world. Innocence. However, what she was most worried about was still happening. Lu Wan's arrogance was arrogant, and as long as she didn't speak, Lu Wan could act recklessly. Baby, have you and our brother gone home yet? Baby, did our brother make things difficult for you? I just told my father in law about the issue of getting married, and he didn't agree or refuse. Is this an implicit meaning? Baby, you still have something left behind. Should I deliver it to you overnight? Baby, why aren't you talking? Baby, who are the other three in the game room? Hello, I am Shen Qingyue's best friend, Shen Mama said in a cold and elegant imperial sister's voice. Hello, I'm Shen Qingyue. My best friend's husband, said Shen's father in a hoarse and sexy bubble voice. Shen Qingyue. He lowered his voice and said, hello, I am a friend of Shen Qingyue's best friend's husband. Lu Wan didn't figure out what the current situation was. What he thought was a sweet double row, how did it turn into a passionate split? Although they were both playing games, their nature was completely different. Hello, so now is it, said Lu Wan with confusion. Do you see friends? Before meeting the parents, there is also a meeting with friends, but besides the baby's best friend, the relationship between this friend and Shen Qingyue is also too far away. The key is that he doesn't know anyone. Can it be said that his father in law agreed to his marriage with the baby, and his uncle also compromised, so the baby brought him to meet her best friend who had fun with her? Lu Wan felt that he had finally overcome it. He restrained his excited heart and trembling hands. As soon as he entered the game interface, he locked his signature hero Lan and wanted to show his strength in front of his precious friend. Shen Qingyue seemed to have insight into Lu Wan's thoughts, and she asked, do you, a hero, have a national standard? Lu Wan kept a low profile and said, the top 10 in the national server. Then he said, feel free, I'll fly with you. Shen Qingyue. That's impossible. Specifically, they formed a team that lost a lot of points, and the athletes who applied to compete were Shen's father, who is both greedy and lacks self-awareness, plays the hero of Yunzhong Jun, who possesses emotional skin. Shen Mama, who has never played King of Glory before, plays the hero Yao, who can be hung on the head of the Cloud Lord. Shen Qingyue, a professional player who disguises himself as a rookie, plays the role of a hero who is sometimes supernatural and sometimes supernatural, known as the 100-mile pacification. As for Shen Qingyue, their lineup is lacking both top and middle singles, and she cannot win the title of a combat hero. Therefore, she chose Wu Zetian, who has just been trained. But games are not the key, conversation is the key. As soon as the game interface jumped to the preparation interface, Ms. Xia Shui began to freely play and said, Lu Wan, I heard you and Shen Qingyue have a good relationship. Lu Wan was a bit surprised. He didn't expect his image to be like this in Shen Qingyue's friend's heart, and his relationship was very good. He said, is this something that the baby personally certified? Shen Qingyue's Wu Zetian's operation was deformed, and she accidentally hit a big move when sliding her hand. She didn't. Even if the relationship is really good when it comes to dating, she hides it in her heart and never says it out loud. Although Lu Wan always talks about loving you. But under the requirements of the system, she needs to maintain an unattainable character with a clear and aloof white moonlight. Ms. Xia Shui also explained to her, no. Shen Qingyue let out a sigh of relief for some reason, but then Ms. Xia Shui continued, but I can tell that Shen Qingyue left her earrings when she last went to your house. Shen Qingyue. It's dark in front of me. She's not ready yet, is this the beginning? She is nervous, anxious. This question is really going to hammer her to death. How could her earrings fall into someone else's house? Of course, she only takes them off when she's sleeping. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. During the Inquisition. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. During the Inquisition, Shen Qingyue glanced anxiously at the parent seat and prepared to secretly contact Lu Wan offline. But she just clicked on WeChat. Her dear mother asked, "Baby, why are you disconnected? Is the signal bad, or do you want to do something else?" The father and son of the Shen family looked over lightly. Shen Qingyue consciously returned to King of Glory and stuttered, "I'm sorry, the signal was not good just now." In Ms. Xia Shui's gentle tone, there was a hidden meaning. Don't disconnect when you enter the game later, baby. If we play 4 or 5, we won't be able to beat the other side. Shen Qingyue wanted to cry without tears. Good. Shen's mother changed her tone and then turned her attention to Lu Wan, saying, "King, look for that earring at home. That earring is Shen Qingyue's favorite. If it really falls, she will be sad." With the help of a group of rookie teammates who were dragging their feet, Lu Wan faced a 1-on-1 situation. He was distracted while playing games, recalling the things that Shen Qingyue had dropped at his home. He remembered not having earrings, but there were quite a few hair rings. Did it fall into the crevice of the bed? When he was with Shen Qingyue, it was like thunder and earth fire, and they spent 50% of their time in bed dating, regardless of day or night. This possibility is significant. Shen Qingyue only had 3 words in her heart. Don't speak. But Lu Wan said bluntly, "Okay, I'll go back and dismantle the bed. If I don't believe it, I won't be able to find it." Dismantling the bed. Shen's father trembled his hands and made a big move in place. Shen Buizhou fired directly at Lu Wan without distinguishing between enemy and enemy. Ms. Xia Shui placed her phone on the sofa and smiled slightly at Shen Qingyue, "Let's talk, baby." Shen Qingyue. Beat to death, it's done. Asterisk. As soon as Lu Wan finished speaking, he noticed that all 4 of his teammates were disconnected. After he finished snatching the dragon, he clicked on WeChat and the person on the top was Shen Qingyue. He quickly typed, "Baby, is your network not good?" Shen Qingyue's whimpering, "The internet is very good, but it's her who's not good." Interrogation begins. Shen's mother smiled and said, "Shen Qingyue, have you ever slept at his house?" Shen Qingyue cautiously extended a finger and whispered, "Only once." She lied. But if she dares to tell the truth, she is afraid that Lu Wan will not see the sun tomorrow. Shen's father's eyes were sharp as he said, "Which room do you sleep in, the master bedroom, the guest bedroom, or the sofa?" "Ah," Shen Qingyue stuttered and said, master bedroom. This is the truth." She also tried to sleep in the guest bedroom and sofa, but when she woke up, she could always find herself lying on Lu Wan's bed. Shen Baizhou chuckled and asked, "Did he invite you or did you ask for it voluntarily?" Shen Qingyue blinked pitifully in her watery and spiritual eyes, but her brother's iron-hearted heart refused to accept her approach. Do we need to clearly state this matter? It's not all about extreme pulling, wanting to refuse but still welcoming, and ultimately unknowingly. You understand. She became increasingly guilty and her voice became quieter. Shen Family 3. How could their pure daughter, sister, who killed 1,000 knives like Lu Wan, understand these things? Even pushing to the limit, wanting to refuse but still welcoming. Lu Wan fought alone in the canyon until the arrival of the Storm Dragon King, and his teammates almost went online at the same time. He subconsciously felt that something was wrong, but now they only have 2 defense towers left, Gao and Shang Gao. With just one Storm Dragon King squad, the winner can be determined. The health of the Storm Dragon King decreased rapidly, and Lu Bang on the opposite side was leading troops down the road, attempting to use the troops to restrain them from returning home. 5W, 3W, 1W. Shen Qingyue summoned a magic formation at the feet of all enemy heroes and detonated it. Zhao Yun was stunned for a second, while Lu Wan rushed out of the water in a diving state to complete a wave-breaking attack, while hitting the Dragon King with a wild knife. They snatched it. The game can also be dragged until the next Dragon King comes out. This also means that Shen Qingyue's trial time has been extended again. Shen's father's Yunzhongjin has hardly ever flown, and he follows behind Lu Wan's lawn. Lu Wan brushes the wild, Lu Wan clears the army, and as for the red and blue buff. Shen's father, Yun Zhongjuan. Darling, take the blue. Shen mama, Yao. I like the red one, take this one. Shen's father, Yun Zhongjuan. Actually, my hero doesn't consume much mana. Shen mama, Yao. Anyway, I don't want it. Lu Xian stood beside them. The skin of the bounty hunter, Lan, was shining. He was like a light bulb between lovers. It was clearly the sweet double row of him and the baby. How could he become a supporting role instead? When Lord Yunzhong hit the blue buff to the point of remaining health, Lu Wan casually scraped it and the blue buff hit him. Shen's father. I dare to steal his buff. Very good. After finishing the robbery, Lu Wan finally remembered that this was Shen Qingyue's friend. He stood in the grass and politely returned to the city, saying, "Sorry, my hand slipped just now." Shen's father smiled and said, "It's okay." Turning his head, he looked at the precious girl huddled in the corner and cleared his throat, saying, Shen Qingyue, have you found the owner of your tie?" Shen's father deliberately bit the 2 words, tie, hard. Back then, he was carrying a heavy burden on his father-in-law's side, but now of course, he also wants to pass on this feeling of heaviness to Lu Wan, who dreams of becoming his son-in-law. Shen's mother smiled in unison. She lifted her eyelids and joked, "The light gray one, right? Baby, whose one is it?" Shen Qingyue was wronged. She didn't, don't wrongly accuse her. Lu Wan knew she liked playing with shirts, but the only time it happened at her house was with that black tie. The reason why she was so impressed was because they ended up playing with that black tie in too. From now on, Lu Wan's ties have all been changed to black. Of course, the light gray one won't be his. Although Shen Qingyue wanted to break up with Lu Wan, she only made a choice between sincere love and higher life value, and she herself did not betray Lu Wan. Even if it's a breakup, we need to be clear and innocent. Shen Qingyue dislikes seamless connections, and of course, she has no intention of becoming a scumbag. If someone asks her what to say about the fish pond she raised in the King's Canyon at this time, Shen Qingyue can answer honestly that she has never acted beyond the boundaries, they are just a simple master-apprentice relationship and a companion relationship. She has paid before. Too clear, thank you. But without any knowledge, Lu Wan. He just lost his mind for a moment before rushing into the enemy's defense tower and rebuilding it. Tie. Light gray. At the baby's house. Who is it? Dare to give him a green hat. But it's just a tie, it doesn't prove anything, right? He is handsome, has a good figure, has 8-pack abs, is highly skilled, young and golden, and can even pull his lower body without shame. What man can better control his baby's body and mind than him? Maybe it was a misunderstanding, he had to trust Shen Qingyue. At this moment, Shen Baizhou casually picked up the conversation from his mother and said, "Who else, king? Who else can stay at Shen Qingyue's house besides him?" Lu Wan's heart instantly lifted. Is it his, but he doesn't even have a light gray tie, or is it that the baby has changed his taste and likes light gray? Does he have a shirt to match? He knew that the tie was a gift bought by Shen Qingyue from him, but they had an argument a few days ago and Shen Qingyue had not had a chance to give it to him yet. Lu Wan had already imagined the scene where he and Shen Qingyue reconciled sweetly after playing the shirt. But Shen Qingyue was forced to play the script that had already been written, and she said, "Lu Wan, why not? I'll send it to you, the club." Lu Wan's heart skipped a beat as he asked very carefully, "Did you buy this for me, or did I accidentally leave it behind?" This issue is very subtle. Both answers are thunder. If the tie was bought by her for Lu Wan, then according to Lu Wan's brain power, it will be even harder for her to get rid of the sticky sperm. If the tie was left by Lu Wan, he would think she was lying and that other men had been to her house. Shen Qingyue felt that the first answer was safer, but Ms. Xie Shui gestured for her to choose the second one. Shen Qingyue hesitated for a long time, adjusted her emotions, and her voice was very soft, making her feel guilty. What was originally very fake became very true. Did you forget, it was last time? Lu Wan's hands trembled as he listened. He took a deep breath with difficulty and said, "Shen Qingyue, needless to say, I will personally go to your house to pick it up. We have a long conversation all night." He deliberately bites the last 4 words. A long conversation that lasted all night. This is another minefield. Are you talking all night on the sofa? Or do we talk in the bedroom? Lu Wan's 4 teammates once again went offline in unison, but as a professional player, he never surrendered and fought resolutely until the last moment, until the crystal shattered. He immediately withdrew from the game and began phone bombing. Shen Qingyue was in dire straits and only used the phrase, "The tie is fake, it's a big adventure to be honest," to perfunctory him. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. I wish you both a speedy breakup. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. I wish you both a speedy breakup. The Shen family begins the second round of interrogation. Shen Mama. Does Lu Wan often stay at your house? Shen Qingyue's eyes drooped and she said, No, right. Shen's father said, Does he know your home password, or did you record his fingerprints in the access control system? Shen Qingyue felt guilty and said, I gave him the spare key before, but he wanted to come back after the breakup. Shen Baizhou keenly captured the key words. Breaking up. Did you break up? Shen Qingyue instinctively looked up and said, What's wrong? Can't I break up with him? Shen Baizhou finally showed his first smile tonight. Even the disappointment of losing the finals was diluted by this good news. He rubbed Shen Qingyue's head and said, No, I'm praising you. You got a good share. Shen's mother looked at her suspiciously and said, So you're single now? Shen Qingyue held up 3 fingers and maintained her obedient appearance. I swear, I really broke up with Lu Wan. Shen's father glanced at the time and it was almost 3 a.m. He smiled and said, Just break up. Baby, go to bed quickly. I'll help you change your flight ticket. Shen Qingyue nodded obediently. In a place that Shen Qingyue couldn't see, the 3 members of the Shen family held a family meeting, with the theme centered around the relationship between Shen Qingyue and Lu Wan, although Shen Qingyue said they broke up. But could Lu Wan's reaction be as simple as breaking up? Ms. Xie Shui, as the head of the family, said, What do you think? Let's vote. Shen Xinian said, I support Shen Qingyue's idea of breaking up. Shen Baizhou. I also support Shen Qingyue's idea of breaking up. Ms. Xie Shui poured the last bit of coffee into the trash can. She shook her head and sighed, You guys. Can't you still understand Lu Wan's tricks? If he really separates from Shen Qingyue, would he appear to be slippery but openly expose his love affair? Wait, this matter still has some grinding. Shen Qingyue couldn't sleep at all. She lay in bed with her eyes closed, while Lu Wan was still bombarded with news. Ding dong. Ding dong. Shen Qingyue opened the chat interface with 99 plus messages. Lu Wan averaged a message interval of 10 seconds and sent it continuously for over half an hour. Baby, was what you just said true? It's just a big adventure with sincere words, not lying to me. Just tell me, even if you really like someone else, I will let go and bless you. Shen Qingyue happened to see the pop-up message and raised her eyebrows, saying, really? Lu Wan remained quiet for 3 minutes and sent a voice message accusing her, Shen Qingyue, do you really have a heart? You have really fallen in love with someone else. You pretended not to see all the messages I sent earlier. Now that I want to bless you all, just ignore me. You say who that man is, and I promise not to touch him. Shen Qingyue. Didn't you say you wish us well? Lu Wan gritted his teeth in anger and said in a deep voice, I wish you both a speedy breakup. I wish you only to treat him as my substitute, and I wish him never to appear in front of me again. Shen Qingyue. What if we don't break up? Lu Wan was furious and said, you can even say goodbye to someone as top-notch as me. I don't believe that there will be a day when your relationship breaks down. Shen Qingyue couldn't help teasing him and said, if there really wasn't that day, what would you do? Lu Wan's words were taken for granted. Of course, that would be interfering in your relationship, making a stumbling block behind your back for the person you like, snatching you back, so that he will never appear in front of you. Shen Qingyue did not guess Lu Wan's thoughts. After all, she and Lu Wan were not deeply in love. How could she be worth him disregarding etiquette and shame? Don't you feel inferior? Lu Wan sneered and said seriously, emotions are inherently selfish. Do you want me to watch you fall in love? Shen Qingyue, are you too cruel to me? Shen Qingyue remained silent for a long time. She deleted the words she entered into the chat box time and time again, and finally typed out one sentence, if you choose love, you will lose your life. Do you want to live or love? Lu Wan said firmly, I want you. Shen Qingyue was a bit touched. So baby, can you tell me who the owner of that light gray tie is? I'm just asking him how he dares to pry into my corner, Lu Wan asked in a gloomy tone. Shen Qingyue took a deep breath, garbage. Lu Wan, bring back her emotions. It's yours. Baby, you shouldn't just fabricate things to protect him, said Lu Wan with a cold expression in his eyes. Shen Qingyue explained seriously, actually, this tie doesn't even exist. It was just a game just now, just to test you. Lu Wan's lips curled slightly and said, what are you trying on me? Of course, Shen Qingyue couldn't betray her father, mother, and brother, so she could only remain silent. But this silence fell into Lu Wan's heart, which was a lie. Lu Wan's eyes turned red with anger. Has Shen Qingyue moved on to another love so quickly, or has she been playing with him from beginning to end? Lu Wangyu choked up and said, Shen Qingyue, you have no heart. Shen Qingyue didn't expect Lu Wan's reaction to be so severe. She was determined to explain it clearly to Lu Wan. But then Lu Wan said, if you really want me to believe that you're lying to me, it's not impossible. Send me your home address, I'll climb up the wall, and then listen to your own explanation. Shen Qingyue. Why does she feel wrong? Climbing the wall. Explain it yourself. She suspected that Lu Wan's initial plan was to advance by retreating, attempting to show weakness and deceive her sympathy. Then she led the wolf into the room. After thinking it through, Shen Qingyue completely withdrew the touch of tenderness in her heart towards Lu Xian, and she said he wouldn't cry even if he parted hands. He choked up while speaking, he really has talent. She is a professional actress who has heard it quickly. If you don't know the specific location, just send me the location, said Lu Wan, who had not received a response yet. Shen Qingyue casually handed him one. Lu Wang navigated the route with satisfaction, entered the destination, and the system matched it with crematorium. He felt a thump in his heart and quickly typed out 5 words. Baby, I was wrong. The response to him was a red exclamation mark. Lu Wang threw himself on the bed in frustration. Alas, all previous efforts have been wasted. Lu Wang did not seek comfort from Shen Qingyue's side, so he could only tentatively embrace his golden thigh in the Shen family. Boss, is the club still short of playgrounds? I can go home. He can switch jobs from LPL to KPL for love, and naturally return to his old employer for love. And now that the KPL Autumn Tournament has just ended and major clubs are in the listing period, YG Team's purchase of another field player will not affect the squad for the Challenge Cup. Shen Qingyue. No shortage, stay away from my daughter. Lu Wang. Father-in-law, don't do it. Shen Qingyue. Get lost. Lu Wang's melancholic emotions had nowhere to vent. He flipped through his communication list. Only Su Chong was married. When the team members encountered emotional problems, it shouldn't be too much for the leader to help solve them. At 5 o'clock in the morning, Su Chong was woken up by a phone call. Song Shui, who was lying next to her, had sleepy eyes and said, "Who, so early?" Su Chong put on a coat and sighed, "Ancestors." He got out of bed, went to the balcony to answer the phone, opened the door, and asked, "King, what's going on?" Song Shui was about to fall asleep when she suddenly heard King. What king? Is it the person she thinks of? She was soon not tired and found information on Bai Yueguang's Lu Wang on her phone. A former outfielder from the LPL division of Kyushu Esports Club, now a KPL outfielder from the King of Glory division of YG Team. Song Shui's impression of Lu Wang only superficially lingers on the ex-boyfriend of esports genius Shen Qingyue. Now, it's unbelievable. And she just gave Shen Qingyue an esports variety show a while ago, and just gave a notice to Su Chong, specifically asking him to participate in the variety show with the players in the team. It would be even better if there were popular players. If Shen Qingyue and Lu Wang were on the same variety show again. She could hardly imagine the reactions of her fans. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. The female lead of the original book wears it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. The female protagonist of the original book is wearing it. Su Chong happened to be talking to Lu Wang about variety shows. As long as Lu Wang appeared on behalf of YG Club could at least become one of the most influential clubs in King of Glory. But according to Lu Wang's personality, he cannot agree. Su Chong is gentle and persuasive. The first collaboration between the entertainment and esports circles may even lead to encountering a rival on the show, showcasing him in King of Glory, and perhaps even Shen Qingyue can witness it. Su Chonggang said that to attract Shen Qingyue's attention, he wanted to be the most beautiful cub in the canyon, so Song Shui lifted the blanket and got out of bed. When she came to the French window, Su Chongjing said that he had sent the variety show contract to Lu Xian. To avoid long dreams at night. One of them is immersed in the joy of promotion and salary increase, while the other is immersed in love education. Song Shui suddenly spoke in a faint voice, "No way." Su Chong's hands trembled with fear. He turned around and saw his wife wearing a white nightgown, staring at him with a resentful expression, as if Su Chong quickly said, "Wife, I haven't cheated." The phone number is from the club's player, Lu Wang. To prove himself, he also issued a release policy. Lu Wang said, how is sister? Law. Song Shui organized language in her mind and said, "It's King, no you, a top player in the esports industry." Su Chong was not surprised that his wife knew about Lu Wang. After all, King is a genius player with millions of fans, and his wife is an agent who is very sensitive to traffic. Song Shui continued, "Actually, I think inviting you to join our small variety show is really a waste of talent. You should shine on the field and really don't have to lower your price to participate in any variety show. Su Chong frowned and said, "What? Are women so fickle? Didn't they tell him before bedtime that the higher the popularity, the better? And, is that a small broken ensemble? Renowned directors in the industry, gold medal screenwriters, best filming crew, and Star Entertainment as funding partners. Is a project worth billions of dollars also a breakthrough?" Lu Wan didn't take it to heart. He said, "It's okay, I just want to enter the entertainment industry and take a look. What level of emotional enemies are they?" Shen Qingyue also looks up to it. He needs to reduce his dimensionality to show his uniqueness. Song Shui earnestly advised, "King, in the entertainment industry, there really isn't much to look at." Lu Wan. Song Shui hasn't woken up yet, and her thoughts haven't been sorted out, but she only has one purpose, absolutely can't let Shen Qingyue and Lu Wan be in the same frame. She said, "If I'm right, you're probably here to pursue Shen Qingyue." Lu Wangang let out a loud cry. Song Shui said, "But she was very busy during that time and may have to film on the set. Even if she went to a variety show, she couldn't record a few scenes." Lu Wan squinted his eyes and said, "How do you know?" Song Shui hesitated and said, "Hey, didn't you officially announce this on Weibo? What I mean is, how do you know that Shen Qingyue was quite busy during that time?" Lu Wan lightly tapped the table with his fingers and said slowly, "He dives in various fan groups of Shen Qingyue, but I never heard that she has taken on a new drama and is also recording a variety show. So there is only one answer." Su Chong was also surprised and said, "Wife, are you Shen Qingyue's agent?" Song Shui struggled to the death and said, "I'm not." On the other end of the phone, Lu Wan smiled happily. With such a good opportunity in front of him, if he didn't seize it, he would really become a single dog. Lu Wan said, "Sister Song, please keep in touch in the future. Tomorrow, I'll come and see you and Brother Su. I'll come to the YG team. Thank you very much for his care." Su Chong is still the first time he has received a word from Lu Wan about Su Gu, and indeed his girlfriend carries a heavy weight. Song Shui panicked and said, No need. Song Jie, don't be polite, said Lu Wan in a gentle but irresistible tone. His information channel can be updated again. Shen Qingyue received a message from her agent early in the morning, which happened to be 6 o'clock. She thought she had forgotten to tell Song Jie that she had rescheduled her flight, but upon seeing the content of the message, "Bao, I'm sorry to you." Shen Qingyue is completely confused. Has something happened? Song Shui. She doesn't want to betray either, but Lu Wan calls her sister. She has already planned that esports players will retire sooner or later. 27 or 8 is considered an advanced age for the esports industry, but it is a blooming season for the entertainment industry. Lu Wangnan can switch jobs to KPL for love. It shouldn't matter if you jump into the entertainment industry again then. There is a 1-month off period after the autumn competition. During this period, esports clubs often list players and reorganize their training system. But during this period, Star Entertainment and Fruit TV jointly launched a King of Glory variety show, inviting celebrity guests such as the popular Little Flower of the film and television industry, the popular male groups C.Dan Dancer, and the pop singer in the music industry. There are also well-known anchors of Honor of Kings, esports players from major esports clubs, and the program team just released the trailer when they rushed to the top of the hot search. Hashtag Shen Qingyue and Lu Wan teamed up, breaking the wall in the entertainment and esports circles. Hashtag Lu Wan beat Shen Qingyue to tears. Hashtag Shen Qingyue's game realistic level. Hashtag before the official recording of the variety show, there was an interview with a guest, and it was impossible for the production team to let go of the legitimate CP. Program team. Why did you come to our program? Shen Qingyue tried her best to distance herself and said, "My agent helped me pick it up. I want to understand someone's work environment," said Lu Wang, trying to lean towards the ambiguous edge. The production team chuckled. As a mentor, will King's personal emotions affect the fairness of the competition? Lu Wan smiled and said, I don't know. As he spoke, he looked at the camera again and said, if someone is bullied too badly, I will help her take revenge in the game and provide 1.1.1 guidance. The program team understood and said, do other guests have the honor of receiving King's guidance? Lu Wan raised his eyebrows and slightly raised the corner of his lips, saying, guidance is okay, 1.1 is not enough. The production team cheered, so it only belongs to someone, right? Lu Wan curved his peach blossom eyes. He didn't speak, but at this moment, silence was better than words. Everything was in silence. After this video was posted on Weibo, both fans and non-fans were thrilled. Help. This is too spoiled, isn't it? I also want blatant favoritism. What kind of immortal boyfriend is Lu Wan? Shen Qingyue, hurry up and announce it to me. But it is also mixed with comments from black fans. It's just hype, just watch the excitement. If you really lose, you'll lose. Have you forgotten Shen Qingyue's nine-tailed fox ID? Does she also deserve King's attention? Netizen downstairs. Smelling this sour smell, it's almost impossible to cover it. On the rooftop of a certain apartment building, game anchor Song Ran, wearing a black silk suspender, is typing on the keyboard and frantically outputting. King and Shen Qingyue broke up a long time ago, so they just fooled you crazy fans. Netizen downstairs. You're just jealous. Song Ran uses a vest, and no matter how extreme she speaks, it will not affect the image of a pure goddess in the hearts of fans. But she can't do it alone to fight against Shen Qingyue's 80 million fans. After being scolded for being autistic again, she finally remembered that she still had a system, and her anger vented all over the system. What's going on? Didn't you say that Lu Wan and Shen Qingyue have already broken up? Why would he still announce it to the authorities? Former White Moonlight System, current female lead system. After data testing, they have broken up. Song Ran was angry and said, did you really understand what I said? Lu Wanguan announced it. System. Before binding with you, Lu Wan and Shen Qingyue were still in a breakup state. That is to say, it was her own inability to attract Lu Wan. Song Ran is the only one who wears books in the world. According to the plot, she should have succeeded in getting on the top with Shen Qingyue's plastic sister's flower after Shen Qingyue was stabbed to death by Lu Xian's fanatics. But the world consciousness shifted, and the paper figure Shen Qingyue in the book awakened. In order to maintain the plot, the world consciousness can only dispatch the White Moonlight System to exchange the condition of saving lives for Shen Qingyue to shake off Lu Wan and give way to the originally planned female lead Song Ran. Song Ran was an 18th-tier actress in the entertainment industry in her previous life, relying on her wealthy father to grab resources. When she was hanging Weiya, she had an accident and wore it onto the female anchor of the internet-famous game. The moment she passed by happened to be the moment when Lu Ran agreed to break up. Bai Yueguang's system and Shen Qingyue were unbound, and then she transformed into the female anchor's system and bound to her. In order to help Song Ran approach Lu Wan. In each game, the system helped Song Ran cheat, attempting to attract Lu Ran's attention with superb skills. However, Lu Wan Carey never paid attention to Song Ran, who ranked second in KDA, throughout the entire performance. End of this chapter.